Hello, and welcome to episode 118 of Get Valiant. And I'm your normal co host, Joshua Rathbun. And this week, no Eric. Eric is on tour with one of his bands. I think it's Glutton for Punishment. I'm not exactly positive which band it is, but I found out just a couple hours ago that Eric is on the road. I think he's in Iowa. So we wanted to do the episode. We still wanted to carry on the episode just because it'd been a couple weeks since we had done this, and the books are starting to pile up. And when the books pile up, it makes it really hard for us to get caught up. So called in a favor. And tonight joining me is John Hoosier from Hoodoo TV.
What is up, everyone? I am excited to be here on Get Valiant. You know, I'm a longtime listener, now viewer, and I'm always excited to be a guest on this show, man. You guys rock.
Hell yeah. Now, a couple of warnings real quick. So as usual, when we do discuss the books tonight, we will go full spoiler. So if you have not read them, please read them. You know, we don't want to ruin anything for you. 2,
They all die in the end. Sorry.
What?
They all die in the end.
Okay, that's true. Everybody dies.
Last week
Anything you know what to happen is going to happen.
Right.
Warning number 2. John does a nice show with Hoodoo TV, which he is incorporating into tonight's episode. So don't get too attached to how cool this episode will look with images and things like that. I'd love for that to happen every week too, but we'll just see what happens.
Hey, I have to make up for, my lack of other things in some places. So it happens, right? I'm just not a cool drummer like Eric. I can't do it, but guy rocks. You guys' show always rocks, man. So that's why I'm always happy to be on. So
we're always happy to have you on. So, let's get into it. We're running a little bit late. And the first thing that we'll probably want to discuss is the big news with Exo Manowar. So we knew that Exo Manowar ended this week. Issue 26 was the last issue of this run under Matt Kindt. And Valiant wasn't wasting time. We already knew previously that there was going to be a new series of Exo Manowar that would launch later this year. It will launch in November, if I remember correctly. And we now know who our ongoing creative team will be. So the writer on it is Dennis Hallam, also known as Dennis Hopeless. He had always been Dennis Hopeless for a long time. And on art, it's Emilio Lizo, if I'm pronouncing that correct.
Yeah. So Emilio and Dennis on this, dude. And the editor on this is, no surprise if you look at these guys' resume. You can tell that they have a Star Wars background, and so does the editor that's on this, which is going to be Heather Antos, which is something she kind of let us know on the side when the both of us were at Emerald City Comic Con, that this is happening. I think Tyler Esposito, or I think his name is, that's doing the letters, is also from there too. So she's bringing over some of the talent that she had while she was over there with Marvel doing Star Wars. And I loved Dennis's run on Jean Grey. I thought that was really good, and I thought he did a good Darth Vader. It's time for some new blood into that, so let's see what happens with it.
I agree with that, because I think that a lot of times when you see I think the last couple of years, there's been a lot of Matt Kindt on everything, or like Jeff Lemire, and at some points it felt like both of those guys were writing everything that we read, and that's all right. We like their work. But it is kind of neat to see that Heather has some kind of pull where she can get talent in, and a lot of people do like her. Dennis he's new blood to Valiant. So is Emilio. Emilio's art looks great. One thing that's kind of funny about this is that there was a meme I saw where it was like an Exo Manowar meme that someone made. It was just basically 2 pages of Google search where it said Dennis Hopeless and Emilio. And I thought it's kind of true, because we're so used to the same creators over and over again.
Right.
If you would have said, hey, Fred Van Lente is going to write Exo Manowar, I don't think people would have been surprised, because we're used to that. We're used to Fred jumping on projects. He's already got another project coming up with Valiant. Or someone maybe Elliot Rahal, who I would love to see do more work, because I'm a fan of his work.
Right.
But I think sometimes we see the same people, and you're just like, yeah, that's just what the company is. So it's nice to see her extending that branch out to someone, and someone else being like, yeah, I want to do it. So it seemed like a lot of people were excited about it. So November really can't come fast enough.
Right, because we're going to be stepping in, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, a weird stage, and I'll wait till we get there. Um, I can't wait to meet Emilio Lasso so I can do a little throwback here and just yell, Emilio! And then somebody else be like, he was like, Emilio! If you know that reference, you're a cool person in my book. Sorry. But I am pumped up for that. Dude, I think it is cool getting new talent on. I mean, we like you said, we can't have the same people doing these same episodes again and again or the same books. We need to get that. I know when I had talked to Robert Meyer, he talked a lot about getting the writers together so they could start setting up beats for their future events. And I'm hoping that this kind of ties in with that. Within the future of where Lords is at, what Exo's done in space and wherever he's at. I do believe that Heather, I don't remember what she said, but kind of gave us an idea of where it's going to be, where it's going to be settled. Is he going to be in Earth? Is he going to be in space? Where's Arik going to be? So cool connection. But dude, I think you commented on it with the promo art and what's going to be on the covers is going to be pretty dang cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think I had, as much as I loved Doug Braithwaite's art, I thought that the promo art they showed with him with Arik, it was a bit lackluster. And so this one, I'm totally blanking on his name, but we
I
saw
believe
his
it's
art.
Christian Ward.
Yeah, Christian Ward. We saw his art at the Valiant panel at Emerald City, and I just thought it's such a cool style. He's got great art. I almost wish we could just get him on the interiors, just because I was really impressed by that one single image. But that's not. I don't want to take away from Emilio Liza. I think his art's pretty good from what I've seen of it.
Yeah.
I think no matter what, like Valiant's doing the right thing by keeping this book going, even if it's just like a new relaunch.
Right.
They have to kind of do these things because I know that like if they're to continue at like at issue 27, people might be like, okay, I'm done with Kent, so I won't. This book's only going to sell like 4,000 copies. At least now, like even though we're going to have a little bit of a breather over the summer and a little bit of the fall, they're going to come back with this book and it's going to sell probably like 20,000 copies out the gate. It's going to be a good start. And who knows? Maybe Dennis has enough of a Marvel following that those people will come over to Valiant and pick this up. Who knows? But it's exciting. It's exciting to see like the first step in some new blood. This is going to be EXO's third ongoing with VEI. So the only thing I think that stinks about this really is that we're never going to get these milestone issues like a number 50 or a number 100, if you will.
Well, they could go to legacy numbers and down the road. Because I believe, didn't they do like a 75th issue sometime during Kent's run?
They did. Issue 19, I believe, was the 75th. So who knows? I mean, maybe in that regard, like, we'll get an issue 100, sometime under Dennis's run. But
as a Valiant geek here, what do you notice on Arik's or on Shanhara, on Exo armor that is different?
Well, that's a little unfair because on my phone, this image is so small, man.
Oh my gosh. Not what she said.
I can't really tell. The square is so tiny on mine. But what would
but it's look where his is. You can see a cursor here where the triangle is.
That red mark on his shoulder.
Shoulder instead over his chest where it's typically been. So
yeah,
little bitty changes. I mean, that's what we're going to continue to see when somebody else gets on a different property. So
yeah,
all for it.
So I think moving on from that, let's talk a little bit about the solicitations for July of 2019.
Let's please get into that because I think there are some interesting things that we saw. And this is the one I'm most excited for. Beat Claymore and Killers, dude.
Yes, this is going to be awesome. So I think we didn't know too much about it prior other than it was going to be Ninjak related. But this one does really sound like it does come out of Ninja K pretty well. It deals more with the Jonin. We're going to see a lot more of the other ninjas that are in the MI6 program. And all the art on these covers looks phenomenal. We got, Diego Bernard's doing cover, Ken Lashley, Wolf Portacio, John Boy Myers, Fernando Dagnino. So there's like 5 covers. We only have art for 4 of them, but I think that's all that they show. That's all I'm seeing on.
I think one of them is going to be a blank cover, right?
Yeah, and a blank.
Okay.
So I mean, like, Oh no, never mind. I'm wrong. The interior is by Fernando Dagnino. My bad. You did right. I was gonna say because like on my screen it shows like a blank thing, and I'm like, oh, there's just a white box. But yeah,
Right. What
but this should be cool.
throws me off is the that you would think there would be five easily because it says that there's going to be five assassins. So therefore, you would think each one of them got their own cover. It's not right that one of them's left out. So
Yeah, and this series also shows the return of B. Claymore, who wrote Savage, and everybody loves Savage, and why we haven't got more of B. Claymore, I'll never understand. But I feel like reading like a lot of his books, I feel like he's the right guy to do this. I think he could do a really good Ninjak story. So here's his chance to do one.
yeah, I want to see him do something a little bit different. And I know that. Oh man, you said Savage, so I want to go like, oh look, there's a squirrel, and start talking about Savage because I love it and I can't wait for it. But yeah, I love what Christos Gage did on it, and I actually love what Matt Kent did on Ninjak. How he set that vibe of Ninja K, issue number one of Ninjak, and then Christos killed it with Ninja K. Um, and we're getting former Valiant talent on it again, and yeah, where it goes is going to be great. Yeah, I'm all in for that one. That was the one I'm most excited for. And then we got a bunch of other little ones too.
Yeah. So the next thing on the solicitations is the second issue of Psylords. So Psylords will be debuting in June. John, I'm curious. Did you read the first issue? I know Valiant had sent out like a press copy of it.
You know
Did,
what? I've been on a little break on reading everything right away. No, I didn't. But I have read what is on the spring release issue that they gave out. So I got the first 5 pages. Renato Guedes' art looks freaking phenomenal for this story.
yes.
Um, where this goes with another book we're going to talk about later, I think there's going to be a lot of tie-ins, or there's a lot of possibilities for tie-ins, and it would be nice to have a little payout down the road. And hopefully Psylords can bring that to us. But I didn't. What did you think about it?
I haven't. I'm in the same boat. I haven't had a chance to read it. Just because things have been kind of busy around here. I can tell you though that like if you like Renato Gaitis, his art is not going to disappoint. I think like this is like one of the best things he's done visually. I just thought there was a couple of panels that really stood out to me on this. But story wise, I can't tell you. Like I think it's one of those books that I'm going to need to really dive into and to get a real feel of it. But it is Fred Van Lente. We were just talking about him earlier, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a project like this, like Fred's perfect for it. He's got such an understanding of everything in Valiant. There's not a corner of the universe he hasn't really worked on yet. So for me, like they could let him write everything eventually, like at one, like down the line. I'd be okay with it just because I do really like his work, um, especially stuff like Archer and Armstrong is always a thing that's going to stand out. But
Right.
this is something different. It's a little more of a team book. Um, it's a little mysterious because I don't understand like if they're just given powers or if they already had these powers. But again, I haven't read the first issue, and they're not spoiling too much with it with the preview. So I'm excited to read the first issue, but the second issue should hopefully be pretty cool too.
From what I know, the guys that we're seeing, the main four characters, from what Robert Myers has said, is that they are not the Psyots. So, or the I'm sorry, the Psy Lords. Um, they're not the Psylords, so they're prisoners. So it's a little bit different. It's going to be set in current time, not like the previous, VH1 did with Psylords. These guys are current daytime Psylords, not in the future like 4000 when they were
Yeah,
set in the original run. And
and
yeah, the thing that I think is weird is this prisoners on their own cosmic planet kind of reminded me, didn't that just happen of people getting broken out on a cosmic planet prisoners in Exo Manowar, probably issue number 12 with the
I
bounty
can't
hunter?
remember. Well, I know that like that whole first year of Kent's run was like basically stuff like that happening, but it's hard to say. I mean, like sometimes like we do see a repeat of things, but the execution is what matters and how it can veer off from what we might think is going to happen.
Agreed.
So we'll see. I mean, like I think that for me, like one thing that's gonna be kind of hard with me is like I know that a lot of fans don't love the old Psylords book. Okay, I've heard enough people in my time that who've been like, it's such a weak execution. But I've always thought that the concept of the Psylords was awesome because they're just like this super advanced hardcore, you know? So like in the old era, to me, they always seem cool. And the book's actually all right to me. I mean, it's not like the greatest book ever, but like, I don't think it's like terrible. But to me, like when they always talked about like the Psylords happening, I always kind of thought like, oh, it'd be a return to that. And with the way things have been shaping up, it seemed like they would have been in like 4002. But at the same time, I think Valiant has a great track record of taking the previous properties that were done in the 90s, reinvigorating them for 2018, 2019, whatever year that they've done these in. You know, I have total faith that this book will be awesome just because I think they've got the right people on it. You know, and Fred Van Lente knows Valiant about as well as any writer has who's worked here.
Right, and Fred's good world builder too. So give him a kind of more of a open canvas. I think he's going to do a great job. So
yeah.
Then,
so next on the list,
boom, love that center cover, dude.
Oh man, like that one's a bit of a spoiler. I was talking to Philip, who's one of the people who always follows us on like Facebook and used to be on the episodes with us in the chat, and he was like, "Man, what a spoiler that cover is!" But at the same time, like, how awesome is it that like we're gonna get more War Mother? So I think it's great. It's so great. I'm already excited for this miniseries as it is. We haven't discussed the first issue on Get Valiant yet. I don't think it still hasn't come out yet, but I've had a chance to read it, and I've had a chance to actually talk to Dan Abnett about it too. And this it's going to be awesome. I think people are really going to like this. I do really think that right now we're going to start getting into a lot of books that people are going to feel really positive about. But this does kind of spoil like, oh, someone's showing up that we don't know what was going to happen with them, you know, because the way War Mother ended, it did end in a way where you thought they would continue it somehow. It'll be. I don't think it's going to pick up from there, obviously.
Right.
Because I think we're going to see more of like the effects of War Mother now that New Earth is, or New Japan has crashed into Earth. But what stinks about this too is that like, again, we haven't issue 1 hasn't dropped, and we don't really want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't read that yet.
And I was about to say, this is why I hate solicitations coming out 3 months before the number one's even launched. Yeah. And then you read the synopsis and it's like kicking the balls.
Yeah. I already think that the first issue is going to have enough of like a jaw dropper that you're going to be like, oh man, how are they going to like switch this up already, you know? And well, there's one way they're going to do it. So since you have the other image up, that we'll get the next issue of Life and Death of Toyo Harada, issue 5. I love that Butch Guys cover. I thought it's one of the first images we saw that was attached to this project. I think it's great. I don't want to talk about what the solicitation says. I mean, if you guys want to like go out there and read it,
go find it for yourself. But yes, I agree. Looking at it right in my face right now really pisses me off. but that Butch Guys cover is amazing. There's another Raul Allen cover that's in there that's freaking great. And one of the other covers, I believe that one, Jack Herbert, always makes me excited. It's just the cover, it's Sunlight on Snow, so give it to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll talk about issue 2, but issue 5 sounds like there's some things that are obviously going to drop within the next couple issues. And I think all those issues have been oversized already as it is, like 40 pages. So, I mean, it's a lot goes on in Life and Death of Toyo Harada. From there, you got Livewire number 8. Now, the way the solicitation is written, I know a couple people were like, oh, what? This is the last issue of the book? No, it's not the last issue. It's just the last issue of that storyline. The way it says is this: find out the climactic final issue of the second Livewire story arc. I believe you and I both were told in Seattle that there will be at least another arc of Livewire. And if it wasn't you, it was
definitely going to be another one. Yeah, find out the climactic final issue of the second Livewire story arc. Yeah, so yeah, it's still ongoing. if you look at Livewire number 8, it doesn't say 8 of 8. So, and typically that's what they do say on all of the other short ones. Like Karada says 5 of 6. So yeah, there's another one that they kind of teased, another story arc, and they didn't tell us who the artist was, but they did say it's written, and they were like super pumped up. So
Yeah, and then the last book out of all this, and again another book where like the first issue hasn't dropped. Maybe you've read it. Maybe you've read the first issue. Maybe you haven't yet, John. But Punk Mambo 405. Um, man, we can't really talk about it, but you know that's just the way a lot of the stuff is. Have you read the first issue yet?
again, waiting on it, man. I guess I'm like Eric. I don't want to be spoiled, get all the excitement right when it happens. And
You know, I always think it's a good thing because sometimes I'm the one that can't wait. So like I'll read a book a month before it comes out, and then we do the episode. I'm just like, oh man, you know what? Like I don't really remember too much about what happened.
yeah, I've done that with a number of titles that I could think of, and it's like, wait, how long ago did I read that? I mean, I could go back to right there, Bloodshot Salvation. They entered the first one of Bloodshot Salvation like months before it came out, and it was pretty sad to like, wait, I had to read the first one all over again to get into the second one. Because I forgot what happened. I'm reading the second one. I'm like, wait, where are we? Just because it was months in advance like that. So the joys and just the cross we bear doing media, right? And having press. I mean, geez, it's a tough life, guys.
It's so hard for us, man. How we manage, I'll never know. Hey, so there's 2 trade paperbacks that come out in July. First one's Incursion. We're gonna talk issue 3 tonight. We're not gonna get into that too much. One thing I did want to make a bit of a comment about is a little image you might be seeing on the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodshot Definitive Edition. This is like an oversized trade paperback, basically. It's 14 issues. It's 0 plus 1 through 13 of Dwayne Skorzinski's run. Matt Kent wrote the 0 issue. But this is cool. Valiant is getting some stuff ready for the launch of the Bloodshot movie. This is a 14-issue book. It's going to retail at $24.99. It's $25 for 14 issues. That's a hell of a deal for a trade paperback, especially since like Marvel and DC do those books for $40. So if you haven't read that run, it's highly recommended. It's fun stuff. The movie is definitely going to take parts from that story, and even like the earlier runs from like the Acclaimed days and the original Valiant days, and a lot of that stuff's going to make this movie. But when I saw this, I was actually really excited just because I love it when companies do collected editions that make sense. Like,
Right.
I mean, like we've all bought like the deals at whatever convention for Valiant, like volume ones. Like here's 5 volume ones for $30 or whatever it is. But for me, like seeing stuff like this, it just makes more sense. People need more bang for the buck. 14 issues for that price is just killer. And you'll get to read the Bloodshot side of Harbinger Wars, which I think some people will really dig. It's got an awesome David Aja cover. So
Yeah, I love that cover. And from what we've been told, Ray Garrison is going to be the Bloodshot we see in the movie. So this would be tying in perfect to what we're going to get in the movie. Last month, in the solicitations last month, they had that huge compendium or omnibus of the first run, the VHI Bloodshot, I believe, with a big, huge collection. And now we're getting this. And yeah, dude, makes it just excited for the movie. Did you guys talk about the digital, all the run digital that's coming out soon? Like $70, and you get everything from 2012 to date.
we haven't. I don't believe so. It seems really cool. I mean, I think the only question I have, and I believe you asked this online, I don't know if you ever got an answer for it, is do you get Legends of the Geomancer?
Right. Is it going to have Harbinger Wars 2, which was the mail call, the mail in only? Is it going to get Legends of Geomancers? And what was there anything else that was kind of right there, like just like that too?
No, I think those are the only 2 things that were ever really like super fan exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even if you don't, okay, like because there's 2 editions. There's like a regular and then there's like a platinum edition, and the platinum edition's like 90 something dollars. And that comes with some stuff, but I wasn't sure exactly what it was. Like it does have some extra stuff, but it's the craziest deal for digital comics because I want to say that it comes down to like a dime an issue. You're just not gonna find that anywhere, and you can have your own copies. You don't have to worry about your internet not working one day. You just have them all on a little flash drive.
Right.
That deal is incredible. If I didn't have so much of it through Humble Bundle, I would do it in a heartbeat. But
Yeah.
I've done all the Humble Bundles for Valiant since they've started doing them, and as much as I'm at first, I used to be like, I don't care about reading digital, doing press. I do a lot of it now. I do read a lot of digital copies, so it's kind of nice to have all that stuff on Humble Bundle. It's just a pain in the ass logging into their system sometimes because they want you to verify it. We know how that is tonight, huh?
Right. We have those issues. We have those issues from time to time. So yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, that's a lot of book for very little price. And it's really cool that they're trying to, in a way, it's like they're trying to find other ways to make more money. Let's look up some old books, resell them in a way, repackage them. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It gets more of the books out there. It just sucks for somebody who's a completist. So just, yeah,
Yeah.
kind of go that route. So,
but what sucks more if you're a completist? Them making a flash drive full of comics, or there's only 1 second printing of Quantum and Woody 1.
that would be true. That would be true.
Because I know of people on like Valiant fans who are still like, I buy one at every variant, and they're like, I've got everything. And then when that book came out, they're just like, what the hell, man? Like, I've got that one hole that can't ever be filled. And even like our friend Chris Edmondson, Old Moose, he's got the only cover of Bloodshot Salvation with Vin Diesel as Bloodshot on the cover.
Yeah, the dude does. Well, and this reminds me of one thing right here with this Bloodshot Definitive Edition. A book that I searched high and low for and ended up buying off of you was the Deluxe Edition Bloodshot, Volume 1, right? So this is another way around. If you want to have those copies versus just having it in a single trade, you can get the equivalent to that pretty much right here. So I think it's cool. But yeah, it's hard to get it when you're trying to get all of it. And especially you have, like you said, what is the there was the charity Quantum and Woody, right? That one, the one of one, the most rare comic ever.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know. There was so much screwy stuff with that, and there's so many of those covers that have different stickers on too.
Right.
I don't know how you would view that as a completist.
Yeah, that's actually true. The Quantum and Woody totally screwed everybody up. Typical fashion. Typical fashion.
One thing that you brought up that I thought was really interesting too, though, is like that definitive edition does kind of take the place of the deluxe edition. Although I think the Zero issue was in volume 2.
I think you're right
but
there.
But still, they're not reprinting these books for some reason. I mean, they've reprinted like Divinity, and we got a reprint of Quantum and Woody. And I want to say, like, originally, volume 1 of Harbinger and volume 1 of Exo got reprints. But everything else that goes out of print, they're just like, okay, sorry, you're out of luck, man. Like Rye. Like Rye wasn't even in print that long.
Mm-hmm. That's the one I need. So if you know it, make sure you put that in the comments below. I need to get your information.
Yeah, find Rye Deluxe Edition. There's so many people who, like, on other trade forum or other collecting forums are like, anybody got Rye? Just like, right? Oh, dude. I don't know what happened with this one. Like, we're like, it's so rare. Is it just because like there's so many people that like Clayton Crane's art that were just like, we don't read Valiant, but I love his art? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just that one weird book where like you can find everything else. If you want to collect, if today you're like, I want to start buying the deluxe editions of Valiant, you can buy every one of them for under $100 easily. Any one of them. Right. I see them all the time where like I'll see like Archer Armstrong for cheap, Bloodshot Volume 1 for cheap. I'll see it, but you'll never see Rye. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. That has been the hard one to get. So, yeah. Want to get into some of the books? I think one of them that happened out this week.
Yeah, we can talk about the last issue of Matt Kint's Exo Manowar run, issue 26.
Yes.
Oh, look at all those covers. Look at this production value, man.
It's amazing.
John brings it, man. Whew.
Just bringing it. Pretty What did you think of this? What did you think of this? I mean, Matt Kent, Thomas Giorello. So I mean, you had the good. I mean, a good art team. I mean, Giorello's art's amazing. So
I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. It's kind of I hate to say like it was kind of a chill issue. I think at the end of a run, it didn't go out like with a big explosion. Like the bounty hunters are kind of just like whooped and they're gone. And what happens here instead of like Arik and Shanhara finishing these things off, they're gone, and then a bunch of like ginger aliens show up, and they're pissed off, and they're there just for a fight, but like cooler heads prevail. Arik explains everything, and then they just kind of ship off, I guess, looking for these bounty hunters.
yeah, he like here's a picture of the people that killed your family. Go kill them.
Yeah.
Like boom, out.
And then I thought there was a maybe too quick for comfort, like reconciliation with his old wife and her new man. Like he's just like, cool, good luck on that. I got.
Well, he's already got his rebound at home that we learn about later. So
yeah, I've got the girl with the cattail, so we're good. So I mean, like to me, like I just thought like it was a little bit like tying it up a little bit quick, because I mean, yeah, I mean obviously it's the last issue. Kid's gonna wrap up his loose ends. But I thought it was an all right issue, I mean, like I always praise Robert Venditti's run because Robert knew how to do those human moments of XO where it was like, oh hey, here's XO outside the armor doing human stuff, And so I felt like with this one, that's all right, like those kind of moments where it just wasn't like very exciting, but it got the job done. The only thing I think that's not great about this is that the interiors were not all by Tomas Giorello. We did get a little bit of fill-in by Isaac Goodhart, and it's only because of how nice Tomas Giorello's art is that when I saw the other pages, I was like, this is kind of disappointing. I don't even want to look at these pages. Like, give me more Tomas, But that's the only reason why. When you have such a beautiful art, within the pages, and it just was like, oh, it's just kind of jarring. But actually, I think the ending of it is all right. It wasn't as good as Venditti's run. I felt like Venditti's run had the benefit of knowing what they were going to do. They knew good ways to tease Kent's run. Like at the very end of issue 50, we see like Arik on the throne, Tomas Giorello art. There's bodies everywhere. I mean, like you knew like he kicked some ass. You knew that some shit was going to happen later on with the book. And with this one, we don't really have any kind of clue about what's going to happen with the next run. So that's all right, For me, like, it's all right. What were your thoughts?
It reminded me a lot of what he did with Divinity Zero. When that happened, when Divinity Zero just finished Divinity 3, Stalinverse just happened. And he kind of does this summary of quick, kind of like stops everywhere to kind of summarize everything of what happened during that time. And it reminded me a lot of that. He's kind of wrapping it up. Like, here's how I'm hitting everything on that stretch. It was like being told, almost like, I mean, I didn't find it bad, but in a way I felt like it was spoon fed. Here's everything I went through in the last 2 years. Here you go. And I enjoyed it, but I didn't like that in a way. It's like it should have said that without necessarily literally saying it. And just Shanhara and Arik's relationship within the armor, the two of them together, and then just kind of Arik kind of coming to that terms of, just like many people in life, I'm going to be here for a short time. I'm going to try to impact this world while I'm here because it's going to be here when I'm gone. And that's kind of what Arik's vision was within the armor. And he's like a lot more like, hey, I'm just here to use you for a little bit and hopefully make things better while we have this time together. And it pretty much said those not exact words. They said it a lot more eloquently than I did, but it said that just straight out. And like I said, I felt like it was spoon fed a little bit. Wrapped. I mean, he did wrap it up. He closed it out. And Shon's back in Dacia, Nebraska, and they're having a grand old time. He's almost back to status quo, where outside of Shon now is with him. Sana is no longer his wife. And what happens with the fall of Exo goes back to my thing where fall of is not canon. The book of death is not canon. That's over. Fall of Exo Manowar, yeah, is different.
Um,
It's changed up.
I as much as I love Book of Death, I love being like none of those books are canon because you can't have the future so tied up. We're like, okay, like no matter what, we have to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it predictable, you know.
I hate that it handcuffs it. It's just as it's like having Marvel kill somebody and you know they're going to be back next week on the next issue. They're going to
Yeah,
bring them back to life. It's the same thing. It's what does that do within the challenge of each threat, right? Like if you know Pete Stanchek is going to be running the Harbinger Foundation and you know until a long age, and you know that all of it's going to happen, and Arek's daughter is going to take over the Shanhara Exo armor. It takes away the threat of the story at hand. I had asked Joshua Dysart that question: was your Fall of Harbinger canon? He goes, he was kind of like, it was canon for me and my story, as if it were to stop right then and there. But the future is not told, time is not certain. You know what I mean? It's always a changing piece. So I dig that's the case, and I hope that it's not, and I still say it's not.
yeah. I think Fall of Harbinger is my favorite of those books, and if that really was the future for like all of that, it'd be all right. But I think like at the same time, like Faith gets it kind of raw, where she's like assassinated in the future.
Yeah.
Like, God, like really, like why her of all people, But like,
Well,
why not?
and
Like,
it actually brings a lot of heart to Torque, though. That's what I did love
yeah,
about it.
that is true because he's such an unlikable character.
Dude,
But
Joshua wrote him so good.
it's true, but the character, he's still just my least favorite person in the Valiant universe. That's like a main character.
Right, because everybody writes him as a douchebag instead of a little kid who's got a disability and
Yeah,
in a room his whole life. And you know what I mean? There's got to be, I don't know. I think that's a character that has been miswritten for a while, a little bit. I mean, the last couple times. He doesn't have to be such a douche, but he leaves it. He brings it on himself, though.
it's true.
And so there is a lot of redemption that could happen there. But we're going off the left field there. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. That's gonna happen, because we don't do enough of these things together. Even when I've been on your show, we don't do this enough that we're like great rapport,
Just two guys that enjoy what they're doing that like to geek out. It happens.
Yeah. I'm gonna give my score. So I think on this, to end out Matt Kent's run, this wasn't a bad issue. It was all right. It was just a little bit chill. I'm gonna go 3.75, just because I think like it would have been a little bit more exciting. Like if they could have done something a little bit more exciting about this with this issue, like it would have been cool. It basically just kind of ends though with him just being like he's at terms with everything, and everything kind of happens really fast, and he doesn't have to smash anybody. So, but it's all right. It mostly looked good.
Yeah. I wish he would have gotten seen a little bit, but it was kind of like a flyby closer out. I'm gonna be probably this issue alone, probably a 3.5. I mean, it closed her out, and kind of like I say, put him back to a status quo where the main thing that's changed is his who he's sleeping with, and yeah, kind of where he's at is what's Art going home to at night, and what do you give this run? What do you, as a total? Where?
Man, that's so hard to say, because like, I mean, to me, like, obviously, like Venditti's run is the best run of X-Men War. Okay, even counting, I don't know anybody who would be like, oh man, that Acclaim run's the best. No, it's not. And even like early on, like I mean, like the early EXO from the '90s was good, but then like after Unity, it's not like the greatest thing ever anymore, and really doesn't end great. So, like, I mean, I'd say, like, Kent's run's the second best run. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But it's hard to be, like, to score this really high because I feel like the beginning of it for me wasn't the most exciting. It felt like a lot of repeat action. I felt like so many issues was just him, like, fighting an army. And then, like, the next issue should be him fighting more army. I was like, holy shit, man, really? But I'd probably give this probably about 3.75 actually, just because like I feel the second half of it when he came back to Earth, was really exciting. As much as I wanted to hate the storyline set in the past, I loved it. I love the storyline that involved the Brothers of the Bomb. This storyline's been all right. There is one thing though that I'm reminded of now is that I don't think we really got any kind of like closure with Sabas. Like Sabas is still out there somewhere.
Right.
He's hanging out with Gate, and that's just how his story ends for right now. Like, who's going to pick that thread back up? Because I don't know. It just seems like we should have learned a little bit more about him, and like, there's obviously something very special about him if he's still alive.
Right.
But I don't know. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think I'm being right there with you. I mean, 3.75, but I actually enjoyed the time on Goran more than I did after Goran. I enjoyed the characters that he brought to the table with Goran. I thought there were some cool, the burnt people and forget all their names now, but there was some cool characters in that first arc, 3 arcs of why he was on Goran until he came to Earth. And then, then Earth kind of was, I mean, it wasn't bad, but then we jumped right into Harbinger Wars 2. And that was Harbinger Wars 2. So, but ultimately, I'm going to give it 3.75 altogether and cannot disagree. I think it was probably overall, I mean, not quite Invenditti's run, but it was still good.
Yeah. All right. So, what's our next book to talk about?
Our next one to talk about is a beautiful one. It continues to impress so far. Is a little
Incursion.
Number 3.
Man, Incursion has been great. And this latest issue is no different from that one. So, there's a lot to like about this one. So, right, the beginning of this book is incredible. That's just my opinion, because I do like it when you see in these little mini events the ramifications outside of like the main players. So with this, we have Galad, we have Dr. Mirage. They're kind of like the main people on this. But in the very first issue, or the first couple pages of this, we see Archer and Armstrong and Shadow Man and Exo Manowar. How are they dealing with this alien threat? And they showed the pages at Emerald City, and they were really, really cool. But here it was just great to see them. The only thing that kind of stunk is I was like, I wish that this is just my own personal thing with like press PDFs, but like I'm not. I mean, don't put your big watermark like right in the middle of it. It just took away from like the enjoyment of looking at that page so much for me.
Yes.
Until I get my physical copy. But I mean, this book is awesome, and like so much of this is just like Galad trying to get Imperix's little like last remaining member of the planet of hers to help out, to just save Tama, but she ultimately it doesn't seem like she's going to. And then, I mean, where do we spoil this stuff? Like, there's such an awesome fight with this gigantic creature that fights Galad, and I think he does like a very clever thing to defeat him. He basically has like a grenade in his hand, and the monster bites his hand off and eats it.
Awesome.
And then it's just like, boom. It was clever. It was really clever, and I think it's shaping up for an excellent ending. I was reminded very much of the Valiant, that 4-issue series from a few years back when I was reading this, because in the 3rd issue of that, we did get a scene where it was like everybody from the Valiant universe getting ready to like throw down on the big bad guy, on the mortal enemy. And some people have been like, oh, it just seems kind of weird. It seems kind of odd. It seems out of place. I don't mind it myself, but I felt like here, like the little page we get where it's like Auric fighting them and Archer Armstrong and Shadow Man. I thought it was cool. Mm-hmm. It was just really cool to see like another part of the universe involved in this, even though like Valiant's events are so self-contained and they're not making you buy a Shadow Man issue to go with this. They're not making you buy an Archer and Armstrong one-shot to go with this. There's not an extra issue of Exo Manowar that you have to buy to find out how he dealt with like a couple aliens. Because sometimes those issues suck anyways, like they're not anything special. It's just like, hey, every one of these books that crosses over is just them fighting aliens and defeating them. Because you know that some random alien is not going to defeat Shadow Man for good. Right. Some alien is not going to just kill Exo Manowar. A lot of times they're not very exciting. It's just how they deal with it, And if they're not done clever, If it's just paint by the numbers, then it's like who cares really? So
Did you also notice
care.
how well Alyssa and Punk Mambo are working together in that picture there?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep. When those two are what they are, not really always at seeing eye to eye. But dude, this again, you're going on about the pages and the pictures and everything. The art is fantastic in this issue.
Oh yeah,
Colors,
I'm looking at it right now on my iPad. Just I feel like Doug Braithwaite, his art here is great. And earlier in the episode, I was talking about how I didn't like his Exo Manowar piece, for the new series, and I don't. But I mean, like here, I was just like, I think it looks great. And also, there's been all these glass covers that he's done art for, and they all just look incredible too. So I mean, not every artist can impress everyone, and I get that. So like, I'm not when I was making the comment about the Exo piece, it wasn't the bash on him, but it's just he's a great artist. Just sometimes there's an image that just doesn't work.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Cotilla is the guy who's gonna fight Galad. He's awesome.
I dig the connection with Dr. Mirage in this, and then what she's doing with Tama, and then just the at odds that Glad has to deal with the propositions he's kind of given in this issue, and not to mention, like you said, the stomach grenade, freaking great.
It was great. Well, it's great too. Is like I like the fact that Galad is not like he's not always written like Bloodshot. Like Bloodshot is mostly written as a guy who like just soaks up damage, but the nanites will keep him fueled. And Galad is written more times like he's got to do smart things. Like he can take damage, he'll recover, but like it's not the same as it is with Bloodshot, where it's like so instantaneous almost. So I imagine the final fight's going to be without a hand, and that's going to be cool. To see how he does it. And if he does have a hand, that's okay too. But I also one thing I do want to give props for on this too is I thought that I don't know which one of them it is that wrote this, whether it was Andy Diggle or Alex McNadel, but like I thought Scintilla's story about how she basically wiped out her planet was like I thought that was really interesting. Like she's like a little plague carrier.
Yeah.
So cool character.
I'm interested in that connection on how Alex and Andy are said to both do story, but scripts coming from Alex. So seeing who had what thoughts is kind of interesting. Because I think most of us loved what Diggle did on Shadow Man.
I agree, and I feel like I just don't want this to be. I don't want Incursion to be the end of Andy Diggle at Valiant.
Agreed.
He's done great work. We got 11 great issues of Shadow Man. I loved his run. I really felt like right now he put Shadow Man in a place where whoever picks it up again knows exactly what to do with it. Like there's not a broken character like there was when issue 16 came out a few years back, and it's like, oh man, Shadow Man kind of sucks right now.
And Sean Hayes disagrees with you. He actually would like to have those single issues of seeing the Valiant people kick butt on aliens and have a worldwide event occurrence.
Yeah, and I get that, and I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I think a lot of times there's that Valiant approach to doing these events where it's like we're just gonna keep it within a miniseries. Sometimes like the one shots that we've gotten from it, they haven't been like the greatest thing. Like honestly, like the Escape from the Gulag Archer and Armstrong issue from Divinity. To me, I don't feel like I gained a lot from that to the overall story.
Right, I get what you're saying there. I think what would be fun is if they did like a 8-part like little minis, like it's a one shot, but it's like 4 stories and they're just 8-page like minis. Almost like the same way God, why am I brain farting on a compilation would be.
Yeah. But you know what though, but you know what I am a fan of, because I always felt like it was a cool way for me to pick up a book I wouldn't normally pick up, is I like it when 2 titles cross over. Now Valiant doesn't really do that, and I always feel like it's kind of unfair when they do it, because I pick up everything Valiant does. And I'm sure a lot of Valiant fans who are exclusive to collecting just Valiant, they're already picking up everything. So like there's no like hardship when you're like, oh, I have to pick up Bloodshot and Archer and Armstrong. Oh no.
Well, they've done that to us before, though, with Exo and Unity, and
but it's not something they do anymore. I mean, there's only like a couple times we ever had that happen.
Yeah, and most of the times they were pretty good times when it did happen, right? Harbinger Wars 1, Armor Hunters, so So those were pretty good times when it was that way. I agree. And yeah, Sean corrects me. An anthology, yes.
Oh man,
Common
I'm a
story
fan of the
anthology.
anthology idea.
If they had a common story anthology, like aliens abducting the world, how's Exo handle it? How's Shadow Man handle it? How's, you know what I mean, Archer and Armstrong handle it? That would be a cool way to get some writers kind of a taste of Valiant, see if you like them, and cool way to sell another book. Have a little, story that kind of can still be kind of canon in a way.
Yeah. So ultimately on this one, like I'm way high on Incursion. Incursion's been awesome. It's been a ton of fun. It's been exactly what we need with Galad. Tama is great. I'm glad to see that someone can write her very well. Like it's Matt Kent's character basically, and we've only really seen her when written by him. Diggle and Pacnato write her really well. She hasn't been doing too much like these last couple issues, other than like moaning and groaning. But I'm gonna give this a 4.5. Incursion's great. People should be picking it up. I can't imagine if you're a Valiant fan, you're not. It's one of the best books they're doing right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be high on this one too. Again, just the story, Diggle, Alex, however you say Alex's last name, Pacnatal, and
I want to say Pacnato because I feel like I heard someone at the panel say it like that.
I just trying to grammatically say it as it's spelt, sound it out. And then Braithwaite's art, dude. I've always loved Doug's art. I've always thought it was great. And so yeah, pretty high on it. Story's great. Eternal Warrior is back and he's kicking butt. It's up there with one of the best Warrior stories. And we're getting some characters that I love to see. So I'm gonna be 4.75 on this one.
Ooh. And I'm just gonna say this right now. I'm calling my shot. There's been that promo art that they've been showing of Juan Jose Reap, and we don't know who the characters are. It's got to be Galad. It's Galad and Tama. I'm gonna call it right now.
It is a short person, and it does look like one is kind of wearing a robe/cape. So that, yeah, I think you might be right, actually. But that's Juan Jose Reap. Oh my God, that's yeah. Where they're like in like the far away. Yes,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. I'm calling it. I called it when I saw the promo art on Facebook and on Twitter. So I'm just so for the world knows, like if you see that promo art, I know a lot of people said like Archer Armstrong, maybe Savage. None of those are bad guesses because we all want those books. I'm just saying I want more Galad, and Tama's awesome. That's my shot. That's who I'm saying it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So next up, let's talk Livewire.
Let's talk about our gal, man. She is kicking butt and taking names.
And I know that we're running a little late on this one. We got started a little late, and John and I both like to talk. So
sorry, guys.
It's okay, but this one was great. I thought this was a good story. The last couple issues of this were just like one big fight, and it was way like just like the decompression. I was really off. This one's a lot different. This one's a little more fast paced. Amanda's trying to hack into the grid. She also has to fight people. Like she fights like a whole team of like psyops that are against her. We see a lot of stuff with like Project Omen.
Psyop Education Safety Program.
Yes, I thought this was great. This was exactly what we needed with this character. This had Kano on art, or Kano. Looked awesome. A lot of great page layouts on this one. What were your thoughts on it?
Dude, I actually really liked it. I think it's cool. We're getting another, big bad with the Psyod Education Safety Program coming in there. They had some kind of knockoff Harbinger Foundation uniforms.
Yeah.
It kind of it's a mixture of where we don't know what to think really of these Psyod educations because it gives it that good moral ambiguity where which one's right, which one's wrong type of thing, whose approach is right. And I feel like like they're trying to clean up after Harbinger Wars 2, clean up after Pete Stanchek. I love that there's a little bit of tie-ins that they're not just completely forgetting about that story. Like that there is a lot of people that have been left untrained. A lot of psyops are running wild. And then Kano's art, I love anytime his art's great. I don't disappoint anytime he's on a book. Not sad about that at all.
I feel like Cano is like a great artist to follow Raul Allen and Patricia Martin. I feel like if he's just got such a distinct style, it's really cool to look at. And I feel like if you're gonna have like new artists on a book, there's different ways they could have went, obviously, and it
Right.
would be cool. It'd be cool like if we to see like a Miko or a Luis Arosa, but like at the same time, like I feel like Cano's art like really fit this book.
Dude,
Really colorful, a lot of
it
great colors in it.
yeah, it lended itself really well, and those colors, like you said, really go with Patricia Martin's palette with her colors that she uses. So I really like that. It kind of moves like in a quick look. You have to kind of double take and make sure who is it real quick. But
Yeah,
it does really give you a quick transition to where it's smooth. So
yeah.
yeah.
I thought like the opening scenes where Livewire is like inside the servers
Mm-hmm.
fighting like the firewall. I love that. I thought that was very creative.
Yeah, it was super cool. Like it's like 80s video game is what it reminded me of. Um, kind of running down. So very cool aspect there. So yeah, the story's getting good. Yeah, seeing where Livewire goes next, man, is the story leaves us really cool where she's kind of we don't know what side she's necessarily on. Is she still on just Team Amanda, or is she kind of deciding to come take this side? Or is she about to turn into that mother hen that she kind of showed she was in Secret Weapons? Are we seeing that to where she's going to kind of maybe take over this education program? And it's kind of my thought that she's going to take it over, get her kids back with the secret weapons, and Amanda's going to kind of lead the story there. She's going to
You know,
become the new Professor X.
I'm okay with that, because like to me, like I feel like her actions from Harbinger Wars 2 were kind of like a small tide Magneto. Like she did something that like she felt was in defense of like her people, but it's something that put like the world at odds against her, which I felt like is a total villain move. But she's like in her head, she's like, I'm justified. It's to protect my people. So to me, like you can make her Professor X. I'm cool as fuck with that, because like it seems like already like if this is another group of students, if you will, or people for her to just like take care of, she's kind of made for that role now. We've seen it with like the secret weapons kids. Like she can take care of those kids. They were mad at her after Harbinger Wars 2, but at the same time, like she's the perfect like mother companion figure for them. They can learn from her. They can learn a lot from her, in fact.
Right, and she's one of the most like she's one of the strongest characters in the Valiant universe too. I mean,
Yeah.
what she can do with her powers, electronics, and just what she has is just amazing. And where we are in Earth right now in the world with electronics and technology, it's definitely suits her powers well.
Yeah. So for me, like on this book, like I'm way into this one too. I think this is going to be a better storyline than the first one. Although the first issue was just excellent of Livewire. First issue was amazing. But for me, I'm high on this one too. This is another 4.5 for me. It was fast paced. It was a perfect thing to have after the last two issues because the last two issues were just kind of slow. They were good, and you can do a book like that where it's just like a big fight for a couple issues. But I feel like if you decompress it that much, it takes a lot out of like the fun of it. So this was perfect. We
Yep.
meet more bad guys. There's a lot going on. We get to see Amanda do stuff with her capabilities. Excellent issue.
Yep, I'm right there with you. 4.5 as well. I enjoyed the arc. Yeah, it's as far as ongoings are, right? It's probably one of the top ongoings right now with Valiant.
It has to be like the only. It's like the only ongoing.
It's the best ongoing we got right now.
That's right. Take it from us here at Get Valiant. It is the Livewire is the best ongoing book they have going right now.
Yes, and I dare you to argue it.
Yeah, try to argue it.
uh,
So our last book is The Life and Death of Toyo Harada #2.
yes.
And I mean,
Boom.
it's really good. There's so much cool stuff going on here, and I think what really benefits from this is the fact that being that it's like a 6-issue series, Valiant has let Josh Dysart do a lot. The book's a little bit bigger than like a lot of the normal issues,
Mm-hmm.
and it just feels like there's a huge like almost like a big information dump when you read the issue, you know.
Oh
So
yeah, they're super dense.
I love the fact that we're still getting glimpses into the past of Toyo because I feel like with the way his story has been told, there's so much room for like this is what happened at this point in his life. This is what happened at this point. You know, we don't have so much of it that's been told to us already. So like I thought the beginning and even the end, like you know, with him trying to navigate the boat through the storm. I thought
Hmm.
it was just really interesting stuff. You know, I thought there was a lot of thought there. It was something quite different than anything I've read. But then just also like his own struggles back in like the Foundation Zone, tons of problems with the Angela vessel, and the Angela vessel. I mean, like something here that I was just like so like jacked up. You know, just this is just my opinion. And if people read this stuff and maybe they're like, ah, it wasn't that big a deal to me, but like the fact that like Angela has like these like pregnant women in bondage that she like does her experiments on
Our
and all
baby
this shit.
factory.
Yeah, her baby factory. I was just like, that is so twisted. What a messed up thing in this book. But you know, I feel like it still it does fit the theme of it still because like again, like we've talked about this with other on other episodes. The people that surround Toyo Harada are basically monsters. You know, like they're just they're evil beings. You know, like Angela is obviously she is like with those kind of actions, but even like you know we've seen the same thing with like Lord Vine. You know, like it's just like a killing machine.
I mean,
So
hence the incursion arc collecting monsters, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so um, I think there's a lot of cool stuff here though. You know, like I mean, like for me, like it's kind of neat to see how like there's plans already against Harada from inside. Um, Angela just doesn't. She's got some stuff going wrong, but like I think it's not. I don't know if it's spelled out clearly enough in this, but like it seems like things have to be switched up because of her. So like when Harada does like his deep sleep, it's not the same time he's supposed to. It kind of throws things off, you know, because like they're getting ready to like go to war with him, and they think that they're gonna catch him napping, and it doesn't sound like they're going to.
Yeah, and just that connection with Kozo, and see,
Yeah,
I'm curious to see how they wrap that up and kind of tie it up. I mean, I think that I mean this story has been written, years ago before, you know, PRS was gone away and Omen took over. But I love that they're getting this. I love that he's getting this to kind of close it up. Josh was pretty much said that this is pretty much the next arc of Imperium, but since it's been a while to come out, to have it bring like this to be brought in. You had mentioned it earlier. One of my favorite parts of this book was this scene where Toyo is a youth and he is the captain of the boat. And I just believe that that was just such beautiful, like simile of and just totally parallels of Toyo's life and how he would talk about how he would try to take over the storm and he would try to fight the storm and how the storm was difficult. It's not like you can do well in your life when you had the bomb Hiroshima and you survived it, but you weren't trying to fight against nature. You weren't trying to fight it, and then each little thing that he did to try to fight what was kind of inevitable created more ripples down the road and it caused his life to even be more difficult. And then Dysart does such a good job of kind of translating that into the rest of the story. You tried to do this with Angela, and there's a ripple effect with that, and it's affecting more and more. Just the same way of this story when he was a kid. That's just beautiful writing, in my opinion. I just think it's great foreshadowing of what's coming, and I mean, it really summarizes Toyo up as a whole, trying to do good, trying to fight the storm, trying to right wrongs, but each little thing that you do has another effect that keeps happening and changing and kind of like slapping you in the face.
yeah. You know, one other scene that really stood out to me, and I love the scene near the end with Ingrid and Angela, and you know, Angela's got all these questions about why the sleep schedule's been changed and things like that. But then, like, just that little glimpse into where Angela comes from, just seems like such a like, just such a ghastly place. So I thought like that's kind of a cool way to like tell a little bit about her within the story because yeah, it's just a cool like you can see like some like monolithic like tower. There's lots of like black tentacles or things like that, just waving all around it. Just a really like ominous looking place. But again, this is like we gave the first issue really high marks on here. I think Eric and I both gave it a 5. I would give this issue also a 5. It's just this is the best thing that Valiant's been doing in a long time. Not an ongoing. It's the best miniseries they're working on though.
Right. I agree. I'm going to give this one a high score. I believe that the other ones were 5. The last one was 5 as well. And I'm expecting more, and I want to be able to go higher for the next couple issues. So I can't necessarily go, so I want to say 4.75. That way, the next issue I can go 4.85, 4.95, and I keep going up. Just kind of keep taking it to the next level. Awesome book all the way around. Big, dense, lots of information, lots of stuff thrown at you, beautiful art in your face. We're getting a great story that we've been asking for a long time.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to point out, Sean Hayes in our live chat was saying, like, is it wrong that I want like a Ninja cameo or like something like that? And I don't think no, like with Livewire, going back into like Livewire real quick. I so much want to know like what their relationship is now that like Harbinger Wars 2 is done. That at some point I'm like, I hope they do bring Ninja into it. Like if we're only like maybe like the next arc after like this current one, they can do something like that with that. Sorry, I just wanted to comment on that just because you'd written that. And I agree with him.
No, I agree. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but I thought like I think like it's good to see like this final arc of Josh's work at. I would imagine it will be his last work at Valiant. It seems like he's gonna start branching out into like create her own stuff, like he has with like Goodnight Paradise. But this is like I feel like the wait for this book has not been bad in the sense that like it delivered. Because I think a lot of times when you wait for something, you're like, I've been waiting for so long for this thing to happen, and you finally get it, and you're like, oh, this just my expectations were more, I guess, or it just didn't match what I wanted. I feel like with like Life and Death of Toyo Harada, this has been what I wanted, at least as a fan, like what with my own expectations of the story. I just feel like it's very strong.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten to write a great, cool Harbinger, from Toyo really from the beginning. And I like it. I think it's really strong. And I do think we're getting a lot, like I said, the story that I've been wanting, the story I've been asking for type of thing. Because I've enjoyed, from Harbinger to Imperium to where we're at right now. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that's all of our books for the week and last week. And a big thanks to having John on. One thing I wanted to say real quick. Next week, I'm not sure if Eric will still be on tour. He might be. Who knows? Just spreading the gospel of death metal wherever he goes. But are we getting Punk Mambo next week?
Punk Mambo. There's 3 books next week.
Oh, is it followed by a week with no books?
Right? I hate how they do that. It should be like a 2-in-1 or something. But
yeah,
Punk Mambo, Bloodshot Rising Spirit with Elliot Rahal, even though it doesn't say it there, and The Forgotten Queen #3.
Yeah, it should be a great week for books. So if Eric is not around, I hope he is. I don't think he tours that long. But one thing that will happen next week is that I have been asked to do an episode of Get Valiant at Wasatch Comic-Con in Salt Lake City. So next Saturday, a week from a week in a couple days, 9 days, I will hopefully be joined by David Barron. David Barron will be at the show, and I've been talking with him about having him come on. We might just do like an interview with him, but we're gonna do a special episode. I think we'll just stream it live to Facebook, and then we'll just do like we normally do, where we take the audio, send it out as a podcast. So keep an eye out for that, and if I get any more details on that, I'll pass them along to you guys, listeners. And like I said, big thanks to John for stepping up. He does such great work over at Hoodoo TV, and if you guys aren't following it, you should follow it.
Check me out. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. As always, Josh, Span, I love you guys' show. You guys are better people than you are podcasters. I don't know if that's saying much, but
well, we're not much of podcasters, so I'll take it as a compliment.
No, you guys are awesome, man. Enjoy you guys, and happy to be on. and
Yeah.
talk a little Valiant.
Yes, definitely. And if you want it, and for anyone who's listening, Hoodoo does a lot of stuff that's not Valiant. So if you're like, oh man, I don't want another Valiant show, he'll talk a little bit about it, but he does a lot of stuff about like Image. There's a whole world of comic books outside of Valiant.
Dude, can I tell you one of my ideas that I'm thinking about doing? And I think it's a crazy freaking idea. And I'm kind of excited about it. And I'm also scared.
Let's hear it.
I am going to try to do an arc a freaking day. I'm going to read an arc a day. I'm going to videotape it once a week and then edit throughout the week and drop them throughout the week of just whatever. People are going to give me recommendations of arcs. Like, hey, you have to check out this arc of this story. Whatever it may be. So trying to get into a couple things. Like right now, I just got into Baby Teeth, Donny Cates, Aftershock.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Enjoyed the crap out of it. Got the hardcover, so I read the first 2 arcs. But just trying to kind of run a route like that, and maybe even do some back issues of Valiant and stuff too.
Yeah, are you worried that's going to be expensive though? To have to like, if you can't find it on the library, you can't find it in a bookstore. You have to like start ordering stuff, or I mean, how are you gonna find the stuff that people recommend that you don't have?
Well, there's going to be some back issues that I have on my shelf that I'm going to read too, right?
Okay.
And then one of the best little things that have happened is Seattle Library is connected with Hoopla, so I'm at Seattle,
that's nice.
and so I'm gonna be getting a lot of stuff that's on there. So if you are connected with Hoopla and there's something on there I should read, I'd recommend help me out in doing that. And if it's something that's like, dude, this is a must-have, you got to read. Dude, I love getting recommendations. And then I always have a thing: if I don't like it, I ain't gonna review it, but I'll read it though. So.
Yeah. So for people out there, if you check out Voodoo, not Voodoo, check out Hoodoo. Also, send your recommendations to John. He's gonna be doing an arc a day, and so if there's that one book where you're like, hey, someone needs to talk more about this storyline, like it meant so much to me, let him know. He'll read it. He might not like it, but he'll read it.
No, and chances are, like, I might like it. If you guys probably love it, I'll probably end up liking it. I mean, that's kind of the way it works. And then I usually get some Image press stuff too, so I might do a couple before they're out too. So keep going that route. But kind of a little challenge I'm trying to give myself to, at the very least, read 365 arcs in a year.
Yeah.
Just
I felt like doing this episode was enough of a challenge for me, just because so many times when Eric can't do it, I'm just like, okay, fine, we're not doing it, but we did it.
It happened.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. We've taken up enough of yours. So signing off, I'm Joshua Rathbun.
And I am Hoosier from Hoodoo TV. Thank you guys.
And all of you guys stay valiant. Thank you.